This is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to show you how to make this fun little mini elf hat. Now you can make this in any colors that you want. It is made with worsted weight number 4. This particular one is made with Red Heart Super Saver. We've got the spring green, the bright yellow, and just the red. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using Red Heart Shimmer, and I'm going to be using these colors here. I'm going to make the main part of the hat in purple, the stripe in pink, and the little leaf I'm going to do in this teal color, just for fun, just so that you can see that it can be made in different colors. Now, Red Heart Shimmer is a worsted weight number 4, and of course it's made by Red Heart, and it has a little bit of a shimmer in it, which I really like. It's like a thread of sparkle that's the same color of the yarn. So we're going to be using that today, and you're just going to need a small amount of those. It's a really tiny project. We're going to be using our H-hook today, and you'll need a small needle for weaving in your ends and sewing on your little leaf, and of course a pair of scissors. And the neat thing about this particular project is that it's a nice small little hat. It measures about 5 inches by 4, and it's perfect for putting on your stuffed animals. It's perfect for putting a hook in. You can take just a Christmas hook and slide that in the top. If it slides in, there you go. And hang that on your Christmas tree, which I am going to do. And I have some little mittens and some little other things that I'm going to do that with. And I think it'll make a nice addition to my Christmas tree. And because it's made exactly like a hat, you can set it up and use it for decorating. This would be great place markers. Put the person's name on a little card and pin it on, and then they can take this home as a little keepsake for coming to your holiday meal. So it's just a fun little project. And if you'll notice, I also stuck it on my dog's head. It doesn't have any ear holes or anything. It's just a little hat. And if you want it to sit on their head, it fits right between their ears. You can add some little ties and tie it on or not. My dogs are really good about this sort of stuff. Some dogs are not. It just depends on what you want to do. Works on kitties too. But it's just a fun little Christmas and holiday decoration that looks like a little elf hat. So grab you some worsted weight number 4 yarns. Use your leftover scraps, whatever you want to do. It doesn't take much. Grab your H-hook and let's go ahead and get this party started. Well, like I just said, we're going to be working on our little elf hat, and I'm going to be using this pretty purple, more of an orchid purple, Red Heart Shimmer. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be making our slip knot, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to place 4 single crochets and the second chain from the hook. So here's our first chain, and here's our second chain. So we're going to place 4 single crochets in that stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the first chain counted as our first single crochet, and then we did 4 more. So we're going to join to the top of that single crochet, and this will give us a total of 5 single crochets, and we're joining with a slip stitch. So we're just going to slip across there. And I'm going to chain 1 just to hold that so that you can see just a little tiny circle. All right, so that was row 1. Now we're going to do row 2, and we're going to be increasing our 5 single crochets to 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 1 single crochet in the first single crochet, and then we're going to place 2 single crochets in the next one. So there's 1, 2. Pull out a little yarn here. The next single crochet will be placing 1 single crochet. Then in the next one we'll place 2, 1, 2, and then we'll place 1 single crochet in that last single crochet. Now this hat is stitched in the round, and so we will not be joining, we'll just be continuing going around. So that was row 2. For row 3, we're going to be placing 1 single crochet in the first single crochet, and then we'll be placing 2 single crochets in the next one. 1, 2, then 1, and the next single crochet, and 2. 1, 2, then 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, and 2 single crochets in the next one. 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet in the last. And then what we did there is we went from 7 single crochets to an increase of 10 single crochets for row 3. Now we're getting ready to start row 4, and at this point I like to kind of push it out like that and work from the outside of the hat. For me, it just makes it a little easier so I can see how it's shaping. Alright, for row 4, we're going to place 1 single crochet in the first 3 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3. So we placed 1 single crochet in the first 3. And then in the fourth one, we're going to stitch 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And then we're going to repeat what we just did. Let's string. There we go. We're going to stitch 1, 2, 3, and then in the fourth one we're going to stitch 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And then we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in those last 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And we went from 5, 7, 10, and then on this row to 12 single crochets. All right, so we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and something that you can do, I don't do it on this hat because the rounds are really easy for me, but I forgot to tell you, something that you can do is to take another piece of yarn. Let me cut off one of these teal ones so I can show you. And just so that you can keep track of your rows, you can place that piece of yarn in there. And that will help you know where you stop and start. And then when you go through to the next row, you just push that yarn through so that you can see where you stopped and started. This hat I've been doing so much that I forgot to tell you that, because I don't need it for this one for me, but I forgot. And so I wanted to go ahead and tell you that. And that will help you pull it back and forth as we go, and it will help you mark your rows. So we've done 4 rows. For the 5th row, we're going to place 1 single crochet in the first 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And then in the next single crochet, we're going to place 2. 1, 2. And then we're going to repeat this all the way around this row. So we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 2 single crochets. There we go, a little string. And then 2 single crochets in the next. And we'll repeat this all around the row. 1 single crochet in the next 2 single crochets, and 2 single crochets in the next. 1, 2. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochets in the next, and we end right back up where we started with those last 2 single crochets. And you can see where we have our little marker there, and we just take that and we bring it back forward, and this just helps us know where to stop and start on each row. So now we're beginning row 6, and we're going to take our little piece of yarn that we're using as our marker, and we're just going to pull it forward. And the way row 6 is it's 1 single crochet in the next 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to place 2 single crochets in the next. And we'll do this all around this row. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. And we'll continue this pattern of 3 and 2 all the way around this row until we come back around to our stitch marker. So we've done our first 6 rows. Let's move our yarn that's working as our stitch marker back across. And for row 7, we're going to work row 7 exactly like we did row 6. We're going to place 1 single crochet in the next 3 single crochets and 2 single crochets in the next. 1, 2. And we'll do this all the way around till we get back around to our stitch marker. So row 7 is done exactly like row 6. Done row 7 all the way around, 3 and 2, 3 and 2. We're back to our stitch marker yarn. We're just going to push that forward out of the way. And row 8, we're going to do similar. We're going to place 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then place 2 single crochets. 1, 2. So we're placing 1 single crochet in the next 4 single crochets, and then 2 single crochets in the next. And we'll do this all the way around to our stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, go, 1, 2. And you can see our hat is starting to form. Here's our little point, and we're starting to work down the sides of the hat. So 1 single crochet in the next 4 single crochets, and then 2 single crochets in the next. Until you reach your stitch marker. So this was our last increase row. And what we're going to be doing for rows 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 is we're going to place 1 single crochet in each single crochet around. And we'll be doing this for 5 rows. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 5 rows of 1 single crochet in each single crochet around. We won't be doing any increases anymore. And at this point, you should have a total of 30 stitches around. So 1 single crochet in each single crochet around your hat for 5 more rows. I completed the 5 rows, And what I do is I don't move my stitch marker down. I leave it here, and that way I can count as I go by. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of single crochet. And then with no increases, 1 single crochet in each single crochet around. And then what we're going to do once we get back to where we start, we're just going to put a slip stitch in that next stitch, and that kind of helps it lay flat, and then we're going to cut that off. Now, you can either leave this attached and carry it along, or you can cut it off. I just chose to cut it off. A lot of times I leave it attached. It's totally up to you. And if you leave it attached, it's one less thing that you have to deal with. Now we're going to be joining our next 2 rounds. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull out my stitch marker because I don't need that anymore. And you can see the shape of the hat. Isn't that the funnest thing? Okay. We're going to join in our next color to put in our stripes, and we're going to be stitching half double crochets. I'm going to pull those down, and because we're stitching half double crochets, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And basically what I'm going to do, my yarn out a little bit here, is I'm going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. And let me show you just in case you're not sure what a half double crochet is. You yarn over, you go through your stitch and pull up a loop, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. And another thing I'm doing, my yarn got snagged, there we go. Another thing I'm doing is I'm stitching over those yarn ends as I go, and then I'll go back in and make sure they're attached with the needle. But I'm just going to hold those down, and I'm going to go and stitch 1 half double crochet in each single crochet around my hat. And this is going to give me a nice stripe. And we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each single crochet around. And you can see I stitched over those in the back there. And I'm going to go ahead and let that lay, and then I'm going to come back with my needle and I'll make sure those are weaved in good. So, that string didn't pop up there. So we're stitching 1 half double crochet in each single crochet around. For this row, we're going to go all the way around, and then we'll join in the top of our chain 2. So you can see I have stitched 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around my elf hat, and I'm back where I began. Whoops, I wound my string around there. There we go. And I'm going to join to the top of that chain 2. Whoops, I missed it. There we go. With a slip stitch, I'm just going to pull that through and pull that through that stitch. Snug that down and chain 2. And then I'm going to stitch another row of another row of half double crochet around. And something that I did, instead of stitching in the tops of my stitch, I wanted it to be a little more compact. And so I stitched down into the stitch itself. Let me show you that up close. I took my hook and I went right down in there where those 2 little loops are, and I stitched my half double crochet in there. And I don't know, I know there's a name for it, but I'm not sure what it is. I'm just showing you what I did to make it look pretty. You don't have to do it this way. You can stitch in the top of the stitch, but I wanted it to have a little bit more of a compact look. And so, like I said, I'm going to make my half double crochet. I'm going to stitch right down in between those 2 stitches. Like that. And you can see the stitches are kind of on top of each other. And I really like the way that looks, and that's why I stitched it that way. Now, you can stitch it this way, or you can stitch this row, because it's 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around. And you can stitch it this way, or you can stitch it stitching in the top. Either way, it's up to you. I mean, it is your little elf hat that you're making. So let me show you this other one also. And see how this one is stitched in the top. I didn't stitch down in the stitches, and this one is stitched in the top. So both of them are fine. I just really liked the way this looked. So I thought that, and I've been doing them this way for my tree. So there's your two options. You can stitch in the stitch like this, or you can stitch at the top of the stitch the way this one's done. Both are correct. It's totally up to you. So I stitched my second row of half double crochet, and doesn't that look neat how I put those stitches in the top instead of in the side of the post down in that stitch? It's just another technique. Like I said, you can do it either way, and I'm going to have to find out what that's called. But we're going to cut our yarn off, and we're going to go back to our main color. Now you could have left your yarn attached in here, and we could have just carried the yarn up. Both ways are fine. I like doing it that way where I carry the yarn because it's something less I have to weave in, but it's not right or wrong. So what we're going to do, we're going to chain one, snug those down. I'm going to stitch over those again. And what we're going to be doing for the next 3 rows, we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And this is going to give us the bottom part of the hat. Like this one, 3 rows of single crochet around. Get those yarns out of the way. There we go. So we just go in the top of the half double crochet, and we stitch 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And we're going to go back to stitching in rounds here, so just keep moving all the way around your hat. 1 row of single crochet all the way around the hat. We join to the chain 1, and we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to do our last 2 rows, 1 single crochet in each single crochet around for 2 rows. As you can see, I finished up the hat. I did my 3 rows of single crochet, joined them, then I took a few minutes and tidied up my yarns that were hanging off. And you can see they measure just about the same. And you can use any worsted weight number 4 yarns for these. That's the neat thing about it. Okay, now I'm going to make this little leaf right here and to put on this one, and I'm going to do it with this teal. And the way we do that, we're going to make our slip knot, and we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to place 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. There we go. And then we're going to place another single crochet in the next one. Then we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in the next 2 chains. So there's 1 and, whoops, 2. Wanted to jump off my hook there. Okay, that string out of the way. And then we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in those last 2. 1, 2. And now we're going to turn, and we're going to be stitching down the opposite or other side of our chain. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to place 1 single crochet in the first chain, 1 single crochet in the second chain. Then we're going to place a half double crochet in the next 2. 1, 2, and then we're going to place a single crochet in the last 2 chains. 1, get in that last chain. There, I must have stitched that one too tight. All right, and that's our leaf. Basically, 2 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, 2 single, then we turn, 2 single, 2 half, 2 single, and now we're going to tie off. You need to leave yourself a little bit of yarn to sew your leaf on with. So we'll go ahead and tie that off. But before we do that, we need to take care of this string in the back. So we're just going to turn our leaf over. We thread that onto our needle, and we're just going to go down the center of that leaf with our needle. Just push it through there. Cut that off. I always kind of give it a good stretch. Make sure it's going to stay put. All right, and then we need to decide where we want to put it. This one's over here, so I think I'll go ahead and put this one here. And the way we do that is we're going to thread our needle on that piece that we left. You need about 8 or 10 or 12 inches, however you want to work with. And we're not going to stitch the outside. What we're going to do is we're going to go down into the hat. And then we're going to come up and only stitch up the spine or the center of that leaf. That way it's going to stick up. So we're just going to go in and out like this and make a few stitches. And then I'm going to go down back in like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go in and out like that. Push that needle out. And then I'm going to make one last stitch just to make sure that's going to hold right there. And it kind of sticks up for you. Now, if you don't want it to stick up like that, you can sew the sides down if you want. And I'm just going to make a few stitches inside to hold that in place. Like that, and then go the other direction. And cut that string. All right, so now our little hat is ready. We can put it on a stuffed baby. We can take a hook and hang it on our tree. We can put this as a place setting at our table, and you can also put the hook on it, use it as a place setting, put someone's name on a card, and then they can take this home and hang it on their tree. Or you can use it for a toy, decoration, whatever you want. That's the neat thing about these, is they're small and they're fun and fast to whip up. They make great gifts. Oh, gift tags are great too. And everybody loves a Christmas elf, don't they?